All right.
Do we want to, Doug? You want to talk about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Only because of Manson. Okay.
Yeah, Manson.
It's my Doug's all Manson all the time song. And
all Manson, all murder, all the time.
Manson is like in this for like what 3 seconds. That's not hyperbole. He goes in, basically says, "Hey, Sharon Tate," and weirdness ensues. Not like the historical weirdness because it's Tarantino who likes to retcon history. This movie, like, I love this movie. Okay. I think if there was a way you can make movie watching a part of citizenship, you should watch this movie, okay? And others too, like maybe Godfather or something, I don't know. But definitely
Trump heard you, that'll be on the agenda tomorrow.
I'm sure Trump's gonna love the Statue of Liberty scene out of Godfather 2. He's gonna love the shit out of that. Yeah.
So did you like how they portrayed Bruce Lee? I heard there was a lot
Thank
of
you for bringing that up.
controversy.
I came prepared for that because basically I think that the way Bruce Lee was portrayed in that movie is accurate for the time. Bruce Lee had
That's fair.
Bruce Lee had a accident in 1970 as a back injury, and if you watch movies and you believe the Bruce Lee mythos, it was a consequence of some sort of fight. Okay, if you know anything about Bruce Lee, you know it was because he did a stretch and a pre-workout routine poorly before going into a bout, and he just jacked up his back entirely. Okay, and he spent 6 months on his back perfecting Jeet Kune Do. At that point, this is 1970. Okay, now this story, Once Upon a Time in History, takes place in 1969. Okay,
Yeah.
what Tarantino did is that he basically did to 1969 what Jesus did to the year 0. Okay, he basically said that anything happened before the Sharon Tate murders was of a time and a place that was completely romantic. And everybody was cool, and the only thing you had to worry about was dead Nazis, okay? That's the only thing you had to worry about in life. There's even dead Nazis in the movie, you know? And it's great, because you get to punch all of them. You get to burn the shit out of all of them. And, you know, it's basically that kind of thing. It's a very romantic movie, because it basically just talks about how great things were. And you will never see that shit again. It was good for a time. You should appreciate it when you had it. And now that we don't have it anymore, you need to respect the fact that it's over. But to get back to your point about 1970 is that Bruce Lee at one point in time was kind of, you know, I would say proud. Very, very proud. And if you watch the fight scene, because I've seen the movie twice. If you watch the fight scene, Bruce Lee doesn't lose. Okay, people that are
saying
they're like saying that he was disrespected, that his martial arts prowess was not demonstrated to the best of his ability.
okay.
Now, the thing with Bruce Lee is that before his accident in 1970, he was technically he was like watching Jimmy Page play guitar. It was like watching a guitar virtuoso, like a Hendrix. You know, he was technically genius. Okay, after 1970, after that accident, after he perfected Jeet Kune Do, he was like on a level all to his own. He made everything that he talked about in that speech that he said in that movie about Cassius Clay, because the reason why he used Cassius Clay instead of Muhammad Ali also speaks to the before and after of 1969, after, you know, that kind of thing, you know, because he talks about these things in such a way where he said he wished that there was a way to demonstrate martial arts in its pure, rawest form for combat only. Okay? And the whole movie is about combat only versus the romanticization of fighting. okay? And like this antiseptic idea of fighting. The reason why they show, and I'm not ruining anything by saying this, there's actual footage of Sharon Tate in a movie where she does a fight scene of herself in a movie that she did, and if you want to call it a fight scene, everybody else in this room would understand that it's actually a patty cake session, okay? Because that's basically what Kung Fu was. It was like a song and a dance, you know? And Bruce Lee taught her how to do that, okay? So that Bruce Lee that taught Sharon Tate the patty cake session of whatever, of being able to do that fight scene, that was what was done in Hollywood, okay? So like, after the actual murders happen, like, you know, realistically speaking, after those murders happen, what we're talking about is a house full of sweet, innocent people being just jacked up and killed and, you know, horrifically murdered, okay? The premise of this movie is, well, what if they went to a different house? What if they just ended up somewhere else where people actually probably knew what they were doing when it came to combat? Okay, and actually had a vested interest in fighting for their life. That's the key phrase: fighting for their life. Okay, so I'm not ruining anything by saying that, but the house that the Manson women and dude Tex go to instead of the Tate home is that house. Okay, I'm not even going to tell you who it is. Obviously, I mean, if you haven't seen the movie yet, then
Chuck Norris.
you know, for all intents and purposes, that's exactly what happens. But basically, Tarantino approached this whole movie with what if these people actually showed up at someone's house and they knew how to fight for their life.
Yeah. So I will say the only Bruce.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. I've been on the fence about whether or not to see it. I think I'm gonna go see it. But the only, like, I think trailer that I recall with Bruce Lee, it was when he's talking, I think he's talking to Brad Pitt's character, and he's like, my fists are registered as deadly weapons. If I punch you and you die, I go to prison. And he's like, if anybody punches someone they die, they go to prison.
Right. It's that kind of like frank logic that permeates throughout the entire movie. There's comics in this thing. Cliff, Brad Pitt's character, Cliff Booth. He actually reads Rawhide Kid and Sergeant Fury and the Allen Commandos.
Okay.
That's sitting on his nightstand. And it's beautiful. I saw that. I saw Jack Kirby drawings. I was like, "Fuck it, this guy's my hero."
That's cool.
I just assumed from, like, that clip, and I know it was, like, Bruce Lee's family that was very, like, unhappy with the movie. I thought, like, they just made him out to be like an idiot or something.
No, see, like, and so I really want to make sure that everybody understands it's a draw. The fight that happens is a draw. It's one person wins, one person one person gets a point, another person gets a point, and then the fight gets interrupted at that point. And then, you know, Bruce Lee and Cliff both are kind of like, okay, well, this is a horrible idea, you know, that kind of thing.
I'll go check it out.
I'm looking forward to it because I like Tarantino movies.
Yeah.
And like,
And I really hope he
Hit or miss
does.
for me.
I really hope he does Star Trek.
oh my God, he has to.
That would fix everything.
His idea, as far as J.J. Abrams talking about Tarantino's idea, is just enough of a trailer for me.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm
Tarantino wants to do the next Star
wants to
Trek
do the
movie.
next Star Trek movie.
He's a
And all the actors wanted to do the next one.
yeah.
The ones with Pine. And
Yeah.
They're like, if he's doing the movie, we are so there. We will give him money to do it.
Yeah. It's totally a
Yeah,
thing.
apparently he has like this really awesome idea.
Yeah. It's one idea.
I gotta go look this up now.
And we all want it to happen.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I'm
But
interested now.
the other thing I want to mention real quick in terms of like, dude's got to give the full round to the essay answer thing is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote a really understandably harsh essay about this movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, about Bruce Lee's portrayal. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar knew Bruce Lee after 1970. And Tarantino is so sharp with his continuity that that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's input into this kind of reinforces the before 1969, after 1969 thing.
Yeah.
So go find that essay and read that. It's harsh. It's valid. It's completely valid. I don't agree with it, but it's valid. And I think it adds to, because this movie makes its own gravy. We're only talking about Bruce Lee, okay? We're not even touching on the idea of Sharon Tate. We're not touching on the bipolar aspect of
Manson or
Dick.
oh,
I can't think of dude's name now.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio. Jennifer's gonna kill me, man.
Jim Cabot. No, that's not it.
That sounds right, but it's but no. I want to say yes. That right there. What he
Is
said.
Jennifer commenting right now?
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
She's asleep.
I'm waiting for it right now.
not
She's
yet.
like,
We're
she's
waiting
like,
for it.
We got like a 30-second delay,
Rick-
so it's gonna come in seconds.
No, it's Rick fucking Dalton. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Rick fucking. I had to say the bit. You know, but like, you know, Rick fucking Dalton. Tomorrow morning, she's gonna. You didn't get the bit. You didn't do the thing.
Yep, she says that Rick Dalton.
But that's perfect. That's perfect. But like, yeah, Rick Dalton's bipolar thing in there. There's a scene where I didn't laugh, but everybody else in the theater was because I recognized what the hell was going on in the scene. I'm not going to get to it because I don't want to spoil that.
Yeah.
That's important. You'll definitely understand what I'm talking about when you get to it. You're going to be hip deep in the middle of that one before you get it. And then, but yeah, there's this little girl that's in the movie. She's important too. I mean, like I said, we only talked about Bruce Lee. We didn't get the Sharon Tate. We didn't get any of that. But the whole idea of people being upset about this movie, I need them to realize that they're actually rooting to watch a movie where Sharon Tate gets killed, and that is what is disturbing to me about that.
Wow.
And on that note,
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to close on out. It's getting on 9 o'clock.
Time to go to bed.
don't forget about book club next
Alright,
time.
so don't forget about book club.
Sarah,
Don't read
she
Sarah
came
by
to
Garth
studio.
Ennis. So then
Read comic books,
yes.
watch TV.
Read comic books, yes. And
Let us know if
hit
you
us
have
up
any
on
comments.
Facebook
And kiss your puppies.
and kiss your puppies.
And before we go,
All right.
I would like to say congratulations. This is our 10th episode. Let's get everybody together.
It's the first hour of 10.
We're still improving, but we'll get to a very succinct and beautiful show.
Get our mic.
Yeah, if
Get
you're
our
watching,
mic
share us
issue
on
fixed.
social so people can find out about it.
All right, so y'all have a good night. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Now do the dance.
Is music playing right now?
Dance more. Dance.
Is it
That's all I
music that
got.
we own?
Oh, we didn't do the dance thing. We got to keep the.